Hi, this is Mike from Mike's DIY. Today I'm going to be working on a 2000 Toyota 4Runner, and what I want to do is remove the bypass hoses, heater bypass hoses, and they're also called radiator bypass hoses. And they should be done, this vehicle is 15 years old, and so within 10 to 12, maybe 15 years tops, you want to go ahead and remove them if they haven't been removed yet and replace them. Now I'm going to go through some of the procedures that I've done so far and what I'll be doing next to get this accomplished. Now the first thing that I've done is remove the rock guard from the bottom of the vehicle, and there was 4 bolts attached to it. Secondly, I went ahead and removed the negative battery terminal because what I did, I took out the alternator to get better access to the bypass hoses. And you remove the belt from the front of the engine. You don't have to remove it all the way, just you take it off the alternator, and I can show you that in just a few minutes here. Okay, these are where the bypass hoses are located. I went ahead and took off the clamps. The best way to do that is with a small needle nose plier set. And there's one here, there's one over here, and the other one is next to the alternator. And I'll go ahead and put those back. Okay, and this is one of the bypass hoses. We'll put that one on first. And before you do any of this, you just want to make sure you drain the radiator fluid out of the radiator. And this would be the other bypass hose, and you can pick these up at any auto parts store. And these two, they're on the driver's side of the vehicle. And also there are some panels that I took off, and you can just push these pins out, but one of them went here and this other one was on the other side, and you just push the pins out to get them off. It is a good idea with your old radiator fluid just to put a little bit inside. That way it'll make them slide on the tubing, the tubes a little better. You may have to push back your clamp a little more. Put a little more coolant in the tube. Okay, I've got the first one in, and what it is, it's the first one in, the last one out. So we took that one out last, and so that one's the first one to go in. And what you want to do is use your needle nose pliers sideways on the C-clamps, and that will open them up better instead of going straight on with them. So what we're going to be working on next is the second hose, or the first one that we took out. And also, we didn't go over a few safety rules on this, is that you want to make sure it's jacked up properly, and we did take the tire off because it's just easier to get to on this side. And so you just want to check your owner's manual if you're unsure as to how to jack up your vehicle and support it properly on jacks. You can see that, but it's going to go on this right here. And what I did, I just wetted a paper towel with some coolant. We'll wrap it around there.
make it slide on a little easier. Okay, we went ahead and got this side finished. The clamps on. And so when you get done with that, you just want to give the hose a tug to make sure that it's on secure and then it's not going to come off. And then we'll move to the other side that's by the alternator. Alright, after that, we go ahead and give it a tug, make sure it's not going to come off and it's secure. And then we can work on putting the alternator back in. After that, we have to do the adjustment. You know, the best thing for this is to put some black marks on the threads before you take it off. That way you can get it back to the way it was supposed to be when you first started. And that way the adjustment will be just the way it should be. And just make sure you get your belt on first before you finish your adjustment. You want to refill the radiator, and we just want to check for leaks after that to make sure there's no leaks. What I like to do, I like to use a 70-30 concentration, and so I like to use RO water. You can use purified water, really any kind of clean water for your split. You want to make sure your drain plug is closed all the way before you start doing this. And then whenever you empty out your radiator fluid, it's a good idea to put new radiator fluid back in. So what I did just there was to go ahead and fill up the reservoir and make sure the radiator was fully filled. And I turned on the engine and let it cycle through the engine with the heater on. And then we went ahead and refilled both to make sure they were full. That was the next step. And then also we checked for leaks around the bypass hoses to make sure there was nothing leaking. Okay, next is to put the panels back on that we took off to access the bypass hoses. And it's a good time now, if any of the clips are broken, to go ahead and replace some of the clips. And they'll just push back right in to where they came out of. And then the other plastic one goes on the other side. Okay. Then after that, it's just a matter of putting the tire back on. I may have to jack up the vehicle a little bit. After we get the panels on, it's time to go ahead and get the tire back on. You may have to jack up your lower control arm or jack up the vehicle to get your tire back on. You want to make sure your lug nuts are secure and tightened before you lower the vehicle down. And then from there, you want to use a torque wrench. And this vehicle, it's 83, so you want to just sort of set your torque wrench to 83. Go in a crosswise pattern to tighten it. You just want to double check when you finish. Okay, and then after that, go ahead and put the skid plate back on. And there's the vehicle's rock guard. We'll go ahead and put that on next, and then after that, we'll be done. Alright, here's a look at just some of the tools that we used on this project. Clean radiator fluid, some RO water, 2 jack stands, a jack. We used a mallet, a big screwdriver, sorted sockets, wrenches, torque wrench, and a funnel. Well, that's it for this job. It was a 2000 Toyota 4Runner, bypass hoses on the driver's side. And I hope you learned a few things. Thanks for watching.